Hey guys, and welcome back to another Halloween video. Now, this is the first Lemax Spooky Town review that I'm going to be doing for the regular lineup. Yes, I just got done with the exclusives, and now I'm going to be talking about the standard lineup. And to kick it off with a bang, we're going to be talking about one of the big highlight buildings of the year, the Graveyard Party. Alright guys, before we begin, here is the box of the Graveyard Party. I forgot to put that at the beginning of the video, but as you can see, this is another giant building. Last time when I talked about the Pumpkin Tilt and Hurl, I talked about how that was a pretty significantly sized building. This is another big boy. So, as you can see, that's what it looks like on the cover, with the Spooky Town logo at the front. And I turn around here. As you can see, it showcases all the animation, and there is quite a bit of animation on this building. So, with that being said, there it is. Alright, and that being said, let's start the actual review, shall we? Alright guys, here's the Graveyard Party. Just to cut straight to the chase, this is one of my favorite buildings of all time. When the buildings were announced, back in February, when all the Spooky Town buildings were announced, even the Michael's exclusives, this was the one that I was looking the most forward to, along with the Pumpkin Tilt and Hurl. And, sometimes they can be a little bit different than when you view them in person. They can be maybe a little bit better, maybe a little bit worse. Well, I'm happy to say that this building met up on all my expectations and more. Alright, so I guess before we go any further, I should just say that I love the graveyard theme. That is kind of my thing when it comes to Halloween, As far as my favorite themes of Halloween, number one's probably the graveyard. Number two is probably the pumpkin patch. And number three is probably going to be the trick-or-treat village. And, so of course, being a big fan of graveyards, how could I not love this? As you can see, the detail on this building is fantastic. There are all sorts of tombstones all over the place, and they all have, funny little sayings on it. And, you even have, the Graveyard Party sign right there. As you can see, there's just a ton of detail on this piece. Even, a little, box cooler right there, the mausoleum sign, and, of course, the disco ball and the tree. It is just a fantastically detailed building. And, yeah, it's awesome. Alright, so let's talk about the most visually pronounced thing about this building outside of the size, and that is the animation. As I previously mentioned when I talked about the box, this is one of the busiest Spooky Town buildings that I have seen in a long time. I think that this is actually the craziest one that they've done since the Monsters Ball, which came out a long time ago. And this building reminds me a lot of the Monsters Ball in many ways that I'll get to in a second with all the animation. But actually, I think that's a good place to kind of start the discussion. So first up here, you have this zombie on the side right there, and that zombie on the side right there, if you can see it. Looks really cool. He's dancing up and down, and they will bob up and down. Looks really cool behind the tombstones, and a green light will shine on them. The next thing, these zombies right here, they are performing a conga, and they'll go through the mausoleum tunnel. Looks really cool, and there's another zombie in there that's tailing behind them. Really cool. I love that, the conga thing. And, the next thing, and probably the centerpiece animation, are the dancers, which, by the way, the dancers here, they do come removed, as you can see. They come in a little part of the box. And, so yeah, this is an FYI, they're not attached onto them. You'll have to put them on the, little thing, sort of like the Tilt and Hurl. The one, when I talked about it last time, it had those pumpkin carts that came removed. And, you had to put them on the magnetic field. And on top of that, not only do the dancers come removed, but the disco ball here also comes removed as well. Again, it's part of the box. There's a little opening for it. And then, that's where all the stuff goes. So, anyways, once you put them on the magnetic field, they will start twirling around the rotating track. It looks great. They've used it before, back on the Monsters Ball, but it looks awesome. And then, my favorite thing about this building, and again, this is a phenomenal building, but my favorite thing about this building is that coffin right there will open up and a corpse will pop out. Now, I have said during my Cuckoo Clock review that I am a big sucker for that animation mechanic of, the stuff of, people entering in and out of doors, coffins, crypts, whatever. I'm an absolute sucker for that. It's something that they used to do a lot, but now in modern Spooky Town, you don't see them do it very much. So to see it coming back, it is amazing. It screams classic Spooky Town. Actually, this whole building reminds me a lot of a 2006, 2007 building. If you were to tell me this was in the golden era, if you will, I would completely believe you. Alright, again, I haven't mentioned this before, but the lighting on this building is fantastic. There's not a ton of animated lighting on this building, but Well, one, there is some. These spotlights right there on the side of the building, they'll actually change colors and they'll bounce off the disco ball, and it's very visible, and does a great job of bouncing the light everywhere. So, yeah, not a ton of animated lighting, but with all the animation that's already going on, it really doesn't need a bunch of crazy lighting. It's kind of crazy enough, right? But, one thing I actually really appreciated about this building is there's a lot of animation on it, but the animation itself is actually very slow. Now, I thought that was a really, really good choice by Lemax, because I've noticed that the faster the building's animation is, the quicker it'll burn out. So, I think that was a good idea on Lemax to make the animation pretty slow on this building, which you'll see in a second. Alright guys, sum up my thoughts on the Graveyard Party. Absolutely amazing. This is easily going in my Hall of Fame. Again, it's a top 5 building for me. Maybe not top 3. Top 5 for sure. And I have gotten my hands, I've seen every building that was released this year from both companies, Lemax and Department 56, and this is my pick for Building of the Year. I teased that in the last video. I said I was going to be talking about my pick for Building of the Year, and here it is. I think it is an absolute worthy contender, and I think this should be in anyone's collection, even if you don't do the Graveyard. Alright guys, well that was my analysis of the Graveyard Party. It's a killer building, and next time, as a teaser for what I'm going to be reviewing next, we're going to be heading to the Carnival by train. So until then, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you like what you saw. And here is the Graveyard Party with the lights and sound and all of its beauty.